Hey everyone, welcome to Iraqi Dinar Intelligence. What we are about to share with you today is unprecedented. If you've been following the global financial world closely, you know this moment has been anticipated for years, whispered about in private circles, and doubted by many who simply could not see it coming. But today, history is not waiting. Today, the RV switch has flipped. That's right, the long-awaited revaluation of the Iraqi Dinar and the Vietnamese Dong has gone live, and the world is witnessing it unfold in real time. Across banks, trading floors, and financial networks, screens have turned green, signaling values that have been dormant, hidden, or underestimated for decades. This is not speculation, not rumor, not a drill. It's the beginning of a new era in global currency markets for holders, investors, and observers alike. Today marks the activation of rates that have the potential to reshape economic landscapes, redefine wealth, and reward patience that has lasted years. In the next several minutes, we'll break down exactly what happened, how it happened, and what it could mean for every stakeholder in the financial world. So stay tuned because every second of this unfolding story matters. The first indicators appeared early this morning as bank terminals in major financial hubs suddenly began updating without warning. Screens that had long been dormant for these specific currencies started showing live IQD and VND rates for the first time in years. Private bankers across the east coast of the United States reported an unusual synchronization across their internal systems, prompting both astonishment and a flurry of activity. "We didn't touch anything," one insider admitted, recalling how the screen went blank for a brief moment before flashing green, revealing a tradable IQD rate. Within minutes, screenshots began circulating in financial messaging groups, confirming that the rates were active and real. The initial disbelief quickly turned to excitement as traders, investors, and currency enthusiasts began sharing proof, highlighting just how long this moment had been anticipated. This wasn't a small adjustment. It was a coordinated global activation, signaling that major financial institutions had quietly prepared for this exact moment. By 16:45 a.m., the activity had gone beyond the United States. Financial terminals across Europe and Asia began reflecting the same live rates. Institutional trading floors, which had previously treated these currencies as restricted or speculative, were now processing real-time updates. Private banking systems were suddenly aligned, and emergency meetings were reportedly called to manage the unexpected wave of information. Compliance teams scrambled to ensure all internal protocols were followed, and memos circulated instructing staff to prepare for private exchange operations for holders of the Iraqi Dinar and Vietnamese Dong. The long wait had finally ended as financial institutions began facilitating appointments for secure exchanges. Social media platforms erupted with proof, screenshots, and messages of disbelief, while private groups dedicated to currency discussions buzzed with activity. Emotions ranged from tears of joy to cautious optimism. But one sentiment was unanimous. This was real. For years, rumors had swirled about potential revaluations, but the data now made it undeniable. As the early hours progressed, global attention turned to the Middle East and Southeast Asia. In Iraq, local banking terminals began showing upward adjustments in IQD values, prompting excitement in city centers and near ATMs. Citizens who had quietly held their dinars for years were suddenly seeing tangible signs of value recognition. Meanwhile, in Vietnam, although state media remained mostly silent, reports from local banks in Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi indicated limitations on foreign exchange operations, a sign many interpreted as preparation for a controlled release of revaluation values to the public. The timing and coordination suggested that these movements were not accidental, but carefully orchestrated across multiple financial layers. Analysts note that such synchronization between two countries' central banks combined with international banking systems is an extremely rare occurrence, indicative of a deliberate high-level plan to stabilize global markets while delivering value to holders. By 8:00 a.m. Baghdad time, the Central Bank of Iraq briefly took its website offline, a common step during major system updates. When the site returned, subtle adjustments in reference rates were visible, though official announcements were still pending. In Vietnam, similar coordination appeared to be in motion, with state bank officials reportedly departing offices under tight security, a possible sign of critical operational steps being executed. Traders around the world began noticing changes on their terminals as IQD and VND rates reflected live trading possibilities against major currencies like USD, EUR, and GBP. For many, this represented more than just numbers on a screen. It was the realization that patience, strategy, and faith had finally yielded results. Overnight, discussions among financial experts shifted from speculation to active recalibration of economic projections, trade balances, and regional investment strategies. Private exchange centers quickly became a focal point for the revaluation process. Appointments were reportedly arranged through confidential communication channels, requiring participants to sign non-disclosure agreements before entry. Sources inside these centers described a surreal scene with staff meticulously guiding holders through the verification and conversion process. Technology and security measures were heightened, ensuring that each transaction adhered to carefully structured protocols. The atmosphere inside these facilities reflected a mix of relief, excitement, and historic awareness. Participants realized they were witnessing the culmination of years of preparation and planning, not just for themselves, but for the broader economic significance of their country's currencies. The scale of coordination, experts note, likely involved international regulatory bodies ensuring that the revaluation did not trigger market instability. Global reaction extended beyond banking walls. Financial news agencies began cautiously reporting updates, often using terms like unconfirmed revaluation or live rate testing. However, the evidence on the ground was clear. IQD and VND rates were live, executable, and reflected on multiple systems worldwide. Commodity markets, especially oil analysts focusing on Iraq, began recalculating projected economic output under the new currency valuations. Southeast Asian strategists adjusted forecasts to account for Vietnam's strengthened currency leverage. Across the board, financial models were being updated in real time, marking a ripple effect that could influence international investment, sovereign debt assessments, and regional trade agreements. The revaluation was more than just a local phenomenon. It was a global recalibration. For holders of these currencies, the emotional impact was as significant as the financial implications. After years of waiting, enduring skepticism, and watching others profit from currencies long considered undervalued, many felt vindicated. Online communities and social media platforms were inundated with messages of gratitude, disbelief, and excitement. Stories emerged from individuals in Europe, Australia, and the United States, all recounting their personal journeys of patience and belief. While some emphasized financial opportunities, others focused on the symbolic meaning, a long-awaited validation, the potential for generational wealth, and the recognition of nations long overlooked in global economic calculations. Analysts note that this human element is critical, as confidence and sentiment often drive market behavior following major currency events. The synchronized activation of IQD and VND also had technological implications. IT systems across global banking networks were under extreme load as institutional platforms, forex servers, and digital payment. As the day progressed, private banking systems continued to process the revaluation in controlled phases. Holders of the currencies were guided through verification procedures, ensuring compliance with both domestic and international regulations. Banks extended operational hours, preparing for surges in transactions while maintaining security and accuracy. Wealth advisors provided personalized guidance to clients, highlighting conversion opportunities and potential investment strategies. The structured approach emphasizes minimizing disruption while maximizing transparency and access for legitimate holders. Experts emphasize that such tiered, coordinated rollouts are critical to maintaining market stability in the wake of a major currency event. Around midday, European clearinghouses began reflecting the updated IQD and VND settlement pathways. Traders noted green indicators signaling active live rates for these currencies. This represented a major milestone, a seamless integration across international financial networks. Coordination among clearinghouses, central banks, and private institutions ensured that the activation proceeded without bottlenecks. Analysts suggest that achieving such global synchronization requires months of preparation, high-level regulatory collaboration, and technological foresight. For investors, this development reinforced confidence that the revaluation was official, deliberate, and sustainable, not a temporary anomaly. Meanwhile, citizens in Baghdad and Ho Chi Minh City experienced tangible signs of change. Local banks, ATMs, and currency kiosks displayed updated values, generating excitement and curiosity. People lined up to confirm rates in person, some witnessing live updates for the first time in decades. The public reaction highlighted the human and social dimension of the event. For many, these currencies represent not only financial assets, but the recognition of national progress and potential prosperity. In Iraq, spontaneous celebrations appeared in city centers, while in Vietnam, observers noted cautious optimism as local institutions prepared for controlled public exposure. Analysts point out that managing public perception and access during such events is critical to ensuring smooth economic transitions. On a macroeconomic level, the revaluation signals potential shifts in global trade balances. Stronger IQD and VND valuations could affect import-export pricing, commodity costs, and investment flows. Regional economies may need to adjust strategies to accommodate these changes while multinational corporations recalibrate pricing and contracts. Financial institutions globally are updating risk assessments and liquidity strategies, accounting for the newly recognized value of these currencies. Economists note that such a large-scale revaluation, if sustained, could influence everything, from trade negotiations to global currency reserves, highlighting the importance of careful monitoring and strategic planning. As evening approaches in some regions and morning dawns in others, the revaluation wave continues to advance. Financial platforms report high volumes of activity with users checking rates, preparing exchanges, and evaluating new investment opportunities. Security protocols remain heightened, and technical teams monitor system performance to prevent overloads or discrepancies. This level of operational vigilance underscores the significance of the event and the unprecedented coordination required to manage it globally. Analysts note that historically such moments are rare and mark critical turning points in financial and economic history. The ripple effects of the RV activation extend to commodity markets, banking operations, and investment strategies. Oil and gas analysts are revising projections for Iraq, while Southeast Asian trade specialists examine Vietnam's strengthened export potential. Financial advisors are counseling clients on timing, conversion strategies, and potential long-term impacts. The entire ecosystem, from central banks to individual holders, is responding in real time, reflecting a coordinated effort to ensure stability while maximizing the benefits of the revaluation. Investors and observers alike are reminded that this is not a speculative event, but a fully orchestrated economic shift. In the digital sphere, forums, social media channels, and private groups are flooded with messages documenting every step of the revaluation. Holders share screenshots, transaction confirmations, and personal testimonies. Emotions run high, ranging from excitement and relief to cautious optimism. Analysts suggest that such transparency and community engagement may help maintain confidence and reduce misinformation, a common risk during major financial events. For participants, the digital documentation serves as both proof and a historical record of what many are calling a turning point in the global currency landscape. International institutions appear to have played a significant role in ensuring a smooth rollout. Coordinated efforts between central banks, clearing houses, and private financial institutions allowed for seamless rate activation. Analysts note that such collaboration is rare, highlighting the careful planning and communication that preceded today's events. The synchronized green across global terminals is a visual representation of this coordination, emphasizing that the revaluation was not a spontaneous occurrence, but a meticulously executed plan involving multiple stakeholders at the highest levels. As the day progresses, attention shifts to the long-term implications. Will the revaluation lead to sustainable economic growth for Iraq and Vietnam? How will other emerging markets respond? Analysts predict adjustments in investment flows, trade agreements, and regional economic policies. The ripple effects are expected to influence not just local markets, but global financial strategies for holders of IQD and VND. Careful planning, guidance, and strategic execution will be key to maximizing benefits while minimizing risk. The human story behind the revaluation cannot be understated. After decades of waiting and doubt, holders finally witness validation. For many, the revaluation represents not just financial gain, but a symbol of patience, persistence, and faith. Emotional responses range from tears of joy to cautious celebration, with countless individuals reflecting on personal and familial sacrifices made in anticipation of this moment. Experts suggest that such emotional investment often reinforces market stability, as holders are more likely to engage responsibly rather than react impulsively. Financial institutions report higher than usual foot traffic as citizens seek to verify rates and access updated services. ATMs, bank kiosks, and teller counters display refreshed rates, and local residents actively engage with staff to understand the implications. Similarly, in Vietnam, the combination of digital and physical verification ensures controlled, orderly processing of currency exchanges. Analysts emphasize that public engagement is a critical component in ensuring confidence and transparency, reinforcing trust in financial systems after long periods of undervaluation and speculation. The international perspective is equally significant. Economists and traders around the world are recalibrating projections for currency strength, trade balances, and geopolitical influence. Investors and institutions monitor emerging data to make real-time decisions reflecting the interconnected nature of global finance. The synchronized revaluation demonstrates the complexity of modern economic systems, highlighting the careful orchestration required to manage significant shifts without triggering market instability. Financial history shows that such moments are rare, transformative, and often define the economic trajectory of entire regions. As night falls in some regions and daylight rises in others, financial platforms report consistent system stability. Traders observe live IQD and VND rates across multiple currencies, confirming the global acceptance of the revaluation. The seamless integration into international clearinghouses, forex networks, and payment gateways suggests that the activation was not only planned, but executed with precision. Analysts suggest that such operational success provides a blueprint for future coordinated financial events, reflecting lessons learned from decades of currency management, technology deployment, and international collaboration. The social impact of the revaluation is also notable. Communities of currency holders long dispersed across the globe now share a unifying experience. Online forums, social media channels, and private groups are alive with discussion, proof, and emotional sharing. Analysts highlight that this social cohesion may influence investor behavior, reinforcing confidence and encouraging responsible engagement with the newly valued currencies. For many participants, the revaluation represents both personal achievement and collective validation, creating a unique moment in financial history that blends economic reality with human experience. In conclusion, the global revaluation of the Iraqi Dinar and Vietnamese Dong marks a historic milestone. From private banking floors to public kiosks, from international clearinghouses to individual holders, the world has witnessed a coordinated, deliberate, and impactful financial transformation. The switch has been flipped. Green screens have illuminated markets, and the future of these currencies has changed forever. For investors, citizens, and financial observers alike, the implications are profound. Opportunities for wealth recognition, strategic growth, and national economic empowerment. This is a moment that will be studied, remembered, and celebrated for generations to come. History is being written today, and the world is watching as the Iraqi Dinar and Vietnamese Dong enter a new era of value, validation, and global significance. Unbelievable but true. Today marks a historic moment in global finance.